Time for another episode of Pottawattamie County Roots. Hi, I'm Todd Student. Well, how about we get back to bringing a guest on the show? And today I thought, well, this is kind of reactive instead of proactive, but it's still good advice that we should learn a little bit more about how can we help when we have an aging population that might be stuck at home and can't get out and are usually have people coming to them to come and whether it's in-home nursing or maybe just Meals on Wheels. But if the weather ever creates a problem with that, what are some of the different ways that we can still make sure that our neighbors and our family members are safe? Well, we brought in Aubrey Krueger Kutchera with Connections Area Agency on Aging to talk about just that. And yes, we've had the snowstorm now, but chances are we're going to get another one yet this winter. I mean, that's just how it works. And there's another winter season going to be coming as well. So this is going to be good advice. Aubrey Krueger Kutchera from Connections Area Agency on Aging joining us today here on the show. And on Pottawattamie County Roots, we explore the places that make our region home and the people who keep them connected. That is why we are proud to feature Marnie Elkhorn Communications, your local communications provider, serving Marnie, Elkhorn, Walnut, Avoca, and other Southwest Iowa towns with high-speed fiber internet, reliable phone service, and TV options built for rural living. Visit metc.net to learn more and get connected today. Finding the right care for a loved one can feel overwhelming, and Assisted Living Locators is here to help. Jean Bonker brings more than 30 years of experience serving families and has personally navigated the challenges of elder care. She understands the questions, the emotions, and the weight of these decisions. Jean becomes your advocate, guiding you through options with clarity, compassion, and personal support. She's with you every step of the way. Call Assisted Living Locators at 402-690-5467 and move forward with confidence. Back in the studios on Willow, this is Aubrey Krueger Kutchera with Connections Area Agency on Aging. Good to see you again.
It's good to see you, Todd. Thanks for having me.
Have you been busy since the last time we talked?
We have been. My gosh, we last met right before Christmas, and so time flies.
It does.
It sure
does do
does.
that. As you have rolled things into 2026 and have been helping people be able to stay in their homes longer and making sure that our senior population is able to stay safe, how has things been going along since then? I mean, are you seeing any changes? Is it just more of the same? Where are things at right now?
I think it is just a lot more of the same. As you know, a lot more people are getting older than it used to be. Right now, we have more people over the age 60 than any other demographic in the state of Iowa. So there's a lot of needs for the older folks.
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room right now is piles of snow. So, in a case like this, and this is kind of after the fact, so we're talking about the next time. I think that for folks that are in the home but they're getting help coming to them, sometimes a heavy snowstorm can keep that help from being able to reach them. So that requires a little planning ahead, right?
It does. It does. And, maybe looking to having a secondary backup, maybe a neighbor, somebody who can look in besides the normal caregiver if there's going to be an extended time where it's really not safe for them to go outside.
Well, and you bring up a good point too. I think that just to check on them. This isn't probably not going to. The neighbor's probably not going to be as qualified if they have like in-home nursing care coming, even if it's just to help out. If it's not skilled nursing, still the neighbor may not be trained in the same way. But it's just to make sure people are safe.
Exactly. And just, somebody to talk to, somebody to check in to make sure that, well, maybe they ran out of milk or something essential that the neighbor could borrow to them until they can get out and have their caregiver come in.
People still go to their neighbors and borrow stuff?
They do. I
Really?
know my neighbor does.
It's been when I was a kid, it happened more than once. Somebody came by and actually borrowed a cup of sugar. That actually happened.
Yeah.
It's an old cliche, I think, from folks that grew up in the Generation X, as we were seeing that kind of thing back then. And this is, when you think about it, this is the generation we're talking about. It's our parents
Yeah.
that are now into that age, and it's there's a learning curve that just kind of goes along all through the thing because, I don't have any experience with this, but, my parents didn't have any experience with it either when it came time to, take care of their parents.
Exactly. And the way the world is now, it's a lot different than maybe when the baby boomers were young because family was more around. People didn't move as much as they really started in our generation. So maybe now the older person doesn't have a family member or a caregiver near to them.
That brings up a very good point that oftentimes back then you really didn't move that far away. It was not as common to have your immediate family spread out across the country, but now it happens a lot
It
just
does.
because of how easy we can get around. So,
For sure. I remember growing up, my grandma and grandpa, they lived like 20 minutes away and we were the furthest ones.
yeah,
Now I've got cousins all over the country. So,
yeah, my grandparents were 100 miles away, and that seemed like another universe to me.
yeah.
But that was just, it. We called it a 2-hour drive, which I don't know how it took 2 hours to go 100 miles. Because that
You
sounds like
drove
about
50?
yeah, it was about an hour and 45 minutes is probably what it would have been. But yeah, and that was true too. I mean, this was not, 55 was a speed limit even on the interstates back then. Am I aging myself? Uh,
Maybe a
a
little
little,
bit.
a little bit, a little bit. But so with people that we know that okay, they're by themselves, sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable. I think to just go knock on their door, but probably we should get past that a little bit, don't you think?
We should. I hate to use my neighbor for an example again, but he is an older gentleman. And, sometimes we don't see him in a couple days. We don't see his dog outside and his Jeep hasn't moved. So, yeah, going to text and or to see or to text, call, go knock on the door just to make sure if you don't see an older neighbor for a couple days, just to make sure everything's okay.
This would be another example of learning who your neighbors are and getting to know them because how often do we not have a clue who's living right next to us
That's so
and
true.
that's we have so many shared experiences, we're doing the same drive every day and yet we're not talking to each other, and we can look at the way technology is and uh, think that, oh well, this has just shrunk the world and we're so much more connected. I don't think so. I think maybe the opposite has happened.
I think so too. I mean, I think a lot of people that maybe have some social anxieties, maybe that is a door opener for them, but I think that we don't now know our neighbors.
Well, get out, go meet your neighbor.
Exactly, because they might be a fantastic cook, they might be an older person that has great stories to share.
Well, that's a yeah, I would agree that that's probably always going to be the case. If you meet somebody that has more life experience than you, they've got something to teach.
They
You
do.
know, there was a I'm going to turn the whole thing into a therapy session, but I watched a video not that long ago that it said every single person walking the earth has more information than you about some subject,
Yep,
and so we should be looking for opportunities to learn. And what a better way to stay connected. Listen, I make my living online. And so I get that there's a little bit of hypocrisy with this, but I think that there needs to be a balance
it
with that.
does.
And, so I bring somebody in from Connections to talk about life skills and things like
Exactly.
that.
Well, and, Todd, you do the local networking groups too, so
Yeah,
that you get out there, you're
right.
meeting your
But
neighbors.
but that brings up the point I was making is it's more of a balance.
It is.
We need to have a physical being in the same room. I was doing everything, and you're aware of this, that when I started this show, and for over a year, nearly everything was done online because I was working out of a home studio, and I was really the only way I could do that efficiently and effectively. But when we came here into the park building, do you know I don't think that there's a single day since November 1st that has gone by, other than weekends, that I have not recorded someone here every single day through the week. And to me, that proves that connection that you're talking about. And so just go right into the name of the organization that you work for. Connections is what keeps people vibrant. It keeps people active, keeps their mind active. When somebody else is in the room with them, loneliness is not a good thing. You know?
Exactly. And, back when we went through our merger years ago and chose the new name Connections from our previous organization, it was that, because people need to be connected to be
Mhm.
successful. And, not only personal connections, but connected to information and the supports and services that they need to be successful.
Yeah, we can. Again, technology is great, and I'm very thankful for it. And I'm thankful that we can reach people in this way because I can't go out and knock on everybody's door and have this conversation with you, all
Yeah.
across the region. But at the same time, uh, when we can teach our grandparents, our parents or grandparents, how to get online and do all of that stuff, but it's not the same.
No.
It's not. It doesn't feed the soul. It's somebody described it recently as it's a placebo that we think is working, but in reality, it's not. And so when you guys chose that name, Connections, and I'm sure that you weren't just thinking about, okay, we can send an email. My grandmother is about just a little over a month away from turning 100,
Oh, wow.
and she sends mail. She writes mail and sends it, and you know, God bless her, she expects it back.
Yes, exactly.
But that matters. Email is wonderful, but there's no human connection to it.
That's
When you get something in the mail, and this could be something too that with an older generation to remember that it takes very little time to write out a card and to send it. But I would willing to bet that the next time you go to visit that person, that card will be sitting on an end table or a card table, and because it still means something.
exactly. Exactly. Is your grandma still at home?
No, she has been in an independent living facility for most of her 90s. I think she moved in when she was 91, and then just recently, just needed, like within the last 6 months, needed a little more help.
Okay.
So moved into the assisted living wing of that. But she is still very active. I mean, it was at Christmas time just 2 months ago. I received a Christmas ornament that she had made
Oh, that's wonderful.
because she stays active. She started painting about right about shortly after she moved there. Somebody came by and did a workshop and was teaching painting, and she loved it, took it up. And if you're watching, Grandma, I'm sorry if I get this number wrong, but I think she said that she's done over 4,000 paintings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So she's staying busy.
Oh, this is how she stays busy. I have a bunch. One of the last ones she sent me was a picture of a Dalmatian puppy that she had painted, and she said, "Every boy needs a dog. I hope you enjoy yours."
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
right. So these are the things that by staying connected with the folks that, and again, maybe it's not family, maybe it's just a neighbor,
Yeah.
but this is, as far as society goes, this is how we raise each other up and keep bringing everybody along. One time, Aubrey, you and I are we can't stop it.
No.
The time is coming that we are going to be in that position. And I'm hopeful
If we're
that,
lucky enough,
yeah,
correct?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm hopeful that, we have people in our lives that will do that for us because we're going to need it.
Yeah.
So is that enough preaching for the day?
I think it is. And I think too, just to go back to, making sure if you have a neighbor, an older neighbor that you haven't seen to check in
Hmm.
because my grandma, who's 98, she fell and she didn't tell anybody. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sick. You can't come in." Well, come to find out, she had fallen bad enough that she had blood clots and it ended her up in assisted living. But, if the neighbor hadn't seen her when she was taking out the garbage,
Hmm.
she might not be here anymore. She might not have got to see her 98th birthday, but her neighbor saw her and was able to say, "Hey, you really need to call your daughter," and called my aunt just to make
Hmm.
sure that we knew that grandma needed some help. So
Is she better?
she is. She is. She's gone from living independently to living with my aunt and to an assisted living. Then she fell and broke her leg, and so now she's in a nursing home. So she's kind of seen this whole been healthy for 97 years and then bam, a whole
Right.
bunch. But, by being connected to her neighbors and having family around helped to make sure that she could live to be 98.
So the moral to this story is check on your neighbors, check on your older family members, and especially when have a plan in place. If we know that snow is coming, like people around here have this theory about the Oma Dome, and regardless of how much snow we got out of this system, it's not real. I'm telling you, we're just paying attention to the times that it
Well,
we
I
didn't
don't
get what they
know because the
forecasted.
grocery stores have been packed. So people are believing it's going to happen.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they believe that all of that, and it's kind of a joke. I spent a lot of time down in Georgia, and anytime that there's any weather in the forecast, you can't find bread or milk or eggs in the store. And uh, my thought always is, how long are you going to be snowed in, especially down in Georgia? At the
Yeah.
most 2 days. Who doesn't have 2 days worth of food in their house? A few people, but
Yeah.
for the most part, now you're left with 6 loaves of bread that you have to get through because you were convinced that you weren't getting out for 3 weeks. So,
Exactly. So, like, maybe if you have an older loved one that has home
mhm.
delivered meals, Meals on Wheels, making sure they have some backup, maybe some soup or some other
Yeah.
shelf stable foods to
That's
make
another great
sure.
idea that I was thinking of earlier. And the reason I know this is because my uncle actually did this for my grandmother, was preparing food for her, but storing it in single serving. Instead of one large thing that she now has to mess with, take out, put back, and everything else. If you store it in single servings, then they can just take one out
Yeah,
and it's going to last a lot longer and it's going to be a lot easier for them to be able to work with it. So, yeah, again, I'm just feeling a little preachy today.
that's
So,
okay.
but Aubrey, thank you for coming over.
Oh, you're
Thanks
so
for
welcome.
always wonderful advice on how to take care of our aging population that we have. I know that you get a lot of self fulfillment out of your job, and I'm glad that you found your calling. I
Oh,
think we should all
thank-
be so lucky.
yeah, thank you.
The Jenny Edmondson Foundation believes healthcare goes beyond hospital walls. Through its Caring for Our Communities initiative, the foundation helps high risk, low income, and underserved individuals access resources that remove barriers to better health and long term well being. And coming up on February 27th, that is just a week away, the foundation will also bring the community together through Dance to the Beat. This signature event raises critical funds for uninsured and underinsured heart patients. Those funds help provide treatment, medication, rehabilitation, and life saving support. Learn more, get involved, and support the mission at jehfoundation.org. And if you're looking for all natural health solutions right here in Southwest Iowa, Bambi's Green Acres Natural Market, located at 805 South Main Street in Council Bluffs, has been serving our community since 1997. She is here to help you explore your wellness options online as well at bambisgreenacres.com. Bambi's Green Acres Natural Market, putting health in your hands. That's going to wrap up today's show, and also it wraps up the entire week. Hope that you came through the snowstorm okay, and we're looking forward to, you know what? I think maybe I'll make some soup this weekend. That sounds like a good thing to do. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you back here Monday morning.